Hey everyone, I'm Saban, and welcome back to the Board Game Vault. Today, we're going to take a look at Uwe Rosenberg's two-player only game about making quilts, Patchwork. Let's just jump right in and I'll show you how it works. To set up the game, you're going to give each player a quilt board in their color, set up the time board in the center of the table, surround it with all the quilt patches, find the 2x1 patch and just put the neutral pawn in front of it, lay out the buttons which act as a income and points at the end of the game, put a time token of each of your color here at the beginning, and lay out these special patches over the icons. And finally, each player will receive 5 buttons from the bank. Now to start the game, you only really have 2 actions. You can either A, advance and receive buttons, or B, take and place a patch. Let's say I'm green player and I chose to advance and receive buttons. I would just take my time token, put it one spot in front of my opponent's, and I'd count for every spot it took to get in front of that token. I took 1, so I would receive 1 button as payment. Now that the green player has completed their turn, you look at the time board. Whoever's the furthest behind on this track, it's whose turn it is. Yellow's turn, and they would take the second action. Let's say they chose to take and place a patch. To take this action, you find where this neutral pawn is or on the board, and you can select to purchase up to 3 patches in front of it. The yellow player decides they're going to spend 2 buttons, they're going to place this pawn with this piece, and they're going to place this piece wherever they want on the board. After yellow spends their 2 buttons, they're going to take a look and see how much time that piece took to make. This one takes 3 time units. They move their piece 1, 2, 3 time spots in front. Now, for example, let's say a few turns went by and it's yellow player's turn again. They decide that they're going to take and place a patch. They grab this patch here, replacing the pawn. They're going to spend 5 buttons to place it here, and now they're going to move 5 spots on the time track. During their move, they crossed over this leather patch on the board. They get to immediately take it and put it anywhere they want on their board. They also crossed over this button icon on the time board. Whenever this happens, you count up all the buttons on your player board and you receive that many buttons as income. As soon as both players' time tokens reach the center of the time board, the end of the game is triggered. At the end of the game, you add up all the buttons that you have and then subtract 2 buttons for every open square that you have. And whoever has the most buttons at the end of the game wins. If you like games with easy mechanisms but offer a lot of depth and a lot to think about on your turn, this is definitely a game to look at. It has that spatial element that has a lot of Tetris-y feel that will appeal to a lot of people. It has a very low MSRP. It also is very easy to teach. So I give it a 4 out of 5 and I highly recommend Patchwork.